guys, it's Monica with Scrap Saturdays, and today I'm going to be working on part 1 of my toilet paper mini roll, mini album, I should say, that we're doing for the Paper Phenomenon Ning site. And so for part 1, I'm going to let you know that my challenge to myself this whole entire year is to work from my stash, and I ask you to join me in that challenge. So whatever projects you see on YouTube or anything that inspires you, you don't necessarily have to rush out and buy something new or buy something on sale. You know, keep within your budget, or use something like I'm using today, which is some really old scraps that I have. This paper line is from S.E.I. It's the Windsor line, and I keep all of my scraps together from whatever I did with the mini album that I was working on a couple of years ago. And I decided that it was going to be what I wanted to use for the toilet paper mini album. I'm using the Martha Stewart butterfly stamp set that I picked up from Michael's because it was on clearance and I just love it. They already are mounted to my blocks. That saves me some time. I'm also going to be using my Prima script stamp. I've got my Versamark out and some embossing powder in Sapphire, Pearl Luster Sapphire. I just want that to be my contrast color to all the grays, or sorry, browns and golds. So I have that off to the side and ready to go. I collect all my goodies into a basket. That's how I work. So I want to remind myself to make finger pulls, so I pull out my little circle punch. I want to remind myself to round the corners on my tag, so I've got my corner punch. And anything that I think that will match or that I might want to use, I pile in here. But my mini album is also in here. So there's my toilet paper rolls. I actually put it underneath my sewing machine lid for a few days, and then I put some elastic bands on it. And so this is what I wanted to do. I made these my front covers. So I've got some that are not covered, and it's just a chipboard album from Michael's. I have so many of these, as I've mentioned before on my other videos. So I'm trying to incorporate them either as a single page or as my covers, and it just works perfectly that my toilet paper rolls will be done with this. This is my cover. This is my first example of one of my rolls. So I've punched holes with my bind it all on this side, and I've wrapped my paper around it so that I made it about an inch longer and it would overlap, and that's where I cut out my tags, and my tags sit inside of my toilet paper roll, and that's where I'm using my finger pull, and this is where I'm using my corner rounders. I have these coin envelopes that I bought at the dollar store here where I live, and I love them. I think they're so cute. But sometimes we make more work than we need to by covering everything. I like to just embellish my envelopes with my stamp set and embossing the butterflies, adding a little belly band for an extra place for some more tags. And when you flip it over, because it would be bound like this would be the side of the book and you'd be flipping it over like this, I made a little side flap, an extra tag. I embossed another butterfly again and did some more of my hand script stamp, and then that would be my second page. So then I've got some envelopes that I'll be doing with you. I've got an overlay acetate, and it's got the butterflies on it. I don't know if you can see it, but I love it. It's beautiful. I will be adding some bling to that, but that will be one of my pages. And so it'll be, I guess, a row of cover, toilet paper roll, envelope with a flap. I'll put this somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure if I'm going to cut out another page or not, but I think that's how I'm going to do it. So this is how I get started. I cut out everything that I need. That's just a scrap piece of paper, and that's a scrap. And save all of your scraps for tags and anything else. So these are just little pieces of scrap. I actually don't have any more of this animal print, but I love the contrast that it gives to my mini album. So it's just a little piece. And all these are foiled. So I just think, you know, anywhere I can cut them out and use them. So it goes back into my basket. I've collected some buttons that would match the paper line. I've got this Recollections flower that I think I'm going to use on the cover because I love it. I've got a crocheted flower from my mother-in-law. And I've got some charms that I think I'm going to hang. Some bling, some leftover, another. This one is, I've never used these before. They're just foam stickers, but I think I might paint them up. I like this button, not too sure where I'm going to use it yet. A whole bunch of ribbon and fibers that I think match my paper line. I've got some more bling that I buy in bulk from my dollar store, and they're all in the orangey burnt brown tone. I've got another flower, not sure if I'm going to use it, but I still stick it into my basket. This is from somebody's wedding, but I like the tone of it, so I'm going to reuse it and re-glue it. And I've got my bag of beads in case I want to make a stick pin. And that's it. I've got another butterfly charm, and then some more charms that have little sweet words like beautiful and intimate. So if you make it a habit that you just gather everything, look through all your stuff, maybe you'll be reminded of something that you bought a long time ago that you never got to use. And I will be using my glue gun, so if you need to, you plug in your glue gun to make sure that that's nice, hot, and ready to go for you. So the first thing that I'm going to let you know is that the paper that I use to wrap my toilet paper measures 6 inches by 4. So 6 inches to go all the way around and to make this flap, this extra flap. And then 4 inches measures roughly the toilet paper roll. They're all uneven, so don't worry about it. If you need to distress, or as you can see, there's some edges left, I might just go in there and paint that or add some paper. I'm not too sure. I'm going to work on it with you. So don't worry about perfection. You can just take scissors or your X-Acto knife and clean up those edges afterwards. Don't worry about that. So with the cardstock, the plain cardstock, I already tried to get most of it cut up into the tags that will fit the appropriate pockets and openings. And those need to be rounded up. I'm just going to put my envelopes all in one place. Put these aside until we work on them. That's my back cover and the 2 pieces of my back cover. So all I did was put this down on my 12 by 12 sheet, place my chipboard piece down, and I tried to use the edges of the paper itself, less cutting, and then the edges already done for you. And then I just took my scissors and cut them. When I actually adhere it, but I'll show you when I do this cover, I used a sanding block, just the kind that you find at the hardware store, and I sanded down all my edges just like that, and then I used my distress ink and went over the edges. So it kind of gives it more of a cleaner look, because I'm not a good, I don't cut well with scissors. I miss corners, I cut off chunks. I'm not too good at that. So sometimes I feel discouraged to use my chipboard pieces because I think, how the heck am I going to cover that? Or how am I going to get that intricate detail? Well, let me tell you, distressing and sanding and making it look like it purposely supposed to look like that, love it. Saves a day for me. So go ahead and get yourself organized. Get your basket or your shoe box or anything. A tote. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. Gather your stuff, walk around your scrapbook room, see what you have. So then I've cut this out where I've got my flap for my envelope. I've got my band for the other side of the envelope. And I've got my 6x4 piece for my toilet paper roll. So I want them all to coordinate. And again, I've cut them all out with my paper. So again, my band, my flap, my toilet paper roll. So my band is 5 inches wide by 1 inch, or maybe less than that. My flap is 4.5 by 3 and 2/8. So it's 4.5 by 3 and 2/8. I'm gonna keep saying that wrong. Sorry, guys. And then this is 6 by 4. And then I've got only 3 envelopes, so I do have more toilet paper rolls than I do have envelopes, so I just needed some more 6 by 4, and I cut them all out, so that's less work for me. If you want to ink them, go ahead beforehand. If you want to ink them after you glue them down, whatever you like is good. There's no right or wrong. My tags, I'm rounding them, so my corner punch, or if you don't want to. I'm also going to do, before I do video 2 and 3, I'm going to cut out some tags for the toilet paper roll for the inside, but I'm going to be using my Cricut and my my tag feature and see if I can do something with that. So I haven't done that, but on my next video I'll post it up. So far this is what I've got, and this is part 1. And then we'll do part 2 and we'll start covering all the toilet paper rolls together. And if I've got my tags for the inside, then I'll do so. So if you want to gather up your materials and get started, if you'd like to make one with me, there is no easy way to flatten these out. I'll show you even with my elastic bands. Once I take them out, they still give me the, like I'm not holding them down, so they do get fluffy again. But you're still able to work with them pretty well. So I used my bone folder and I folded down the edges as best as I could, and then I gathered them all together. I did put them under my heavy sewing machine lid, but then that's what I get still. So if you've got any tips or tricks to make these suckers go down further, then let me know. But as far as I know, I'm holding them down with elastic bands until I start. So I'll catch you on part 2, and have a great